This rain is relentless, but I have to keep going.
What is this? This is unbelievable. Look out at what you did to my shirt.
You caused it. What were you doing in the middle of the road? What did you expect? You, this homeless-looking, jobless Nigerian. I don't know what your problems is in this country. Trying to blame your misfortune onto someone else. Please leave me.
The day Folashade buried her father, the sky stayed stubbornly clear. No rain, no dramatic thunder, just Lagos heat pressing down on a gravesite full of people who wanted a piece of Chief Owolabi before the earth finished covering him. She stood apart from them all, black dress, dark glasses, jaw tight. She had cried already, in the car, alone, the way she did everything. Inside the lawyer's office afterward, the room smelled of old paper and ambition. Relatives she hadn't seen in years sat with folded hands and hungry eyes. She almost laughed. The lawyer cleared his throat, adjusted his glasses, began to read. Billions, properties across Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, the oil wells in Delta State, the company she has bled for since she was 22. All of it, hers, provided she was legally married within 60 days of this reading, and remained so for no less than 1 calendar year. The room went very quiet. Folashade didn't move, didn't flinch, but behind her dark glasses, something inside her cracked. She was 29. She had dedicated her entire adult life to that company. She had no boyfriend, no prospects, no patience for this kind of nonsense, and her father, from beyond the grave, was demanding she perform for a ring. She stood up, walked out. Nobody stopped her. She drove too fast. She always drove too fast when she was angry. The rain has just started, light irritating drizzle, and Folashade was halfway through a sharp turn on Ozumba-Umbadiwe when her tire hit a pothole and set a wave of muddy water arching perfectly over a man walking at the roadside. She barely noticed. Tony noticed. The cold water soaked through his only good shirt, the white shirt he had ironed twice that morning before his interview at Zenith Petroleum, the one he was supposed to look sharp in. Hey! He slapped his hand on the truck of her car as she slowed at the junction. She stepped out. He expected an apology. What he got instead was a woman in designer black dress, dark glasses, still on despite the clouds, looking at him the way someone look at a stray dog that wandered onto their property. Watch where you are standing. Tony blinked. Excuse me, this is a road, not a walkway. If you can't afford transportation, that's not my problem. He laughed, short, sharp, disbelieving. Then he told her exactly what he thought of her car, her attitude, and people like her in general. She told him to go find a job. He told her she just came from one, that he didn't get it, and that if God was fair, people like her would know what it feels like. She drove off. He stood in the rain, shirt ruined, chest burning. Neither of them forgot the other's face. 3 weeks later, Tony sat in a waiting room that smelled like leather and money. Goldstone oil and gas. 32nd floor, floor-to-ceiling glass overlooking the Lagos skyline. He had rehearsed his answer on the bus ride over. He had borrowed his cousin Emeka blazer. He had gotten here 40 minutes early. The receptionist called his name. He walked into the office and stopped. She was sitting behind the desk. Same face, same posture, different dress. Cream this time, expensive. But that same expression, the one that looked like the word was mildly inconveniencing her. Folashade looked up from his CV. A beat passed. Recognition flickered across her face. Tony stood very still. She set his CV down slowly, folded her hands and said, "Sit down." He sat. The interview lasts 11 minutes. She asked 3 questions, gave nothing away, thanked him for coming, and showed him the door. He rode the elevator down alone, didn't bother hoping. That night, his phone rang, unknown number. "Who is this?" he answered. "Folashade Owolabi." A pause. "You left your CV." "I knew I left my CV. That's how interviews work." "I want to meet you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Echo Atlantic, the restaurant by the marina." "For what?" Another pause. "Short at this time. Come and find out." She hung up. Tony stared at his cracked phone screen for a long time. Then at the eviction, noticed his landlord had slipped under the door that morning. He typed back, "I will be there." He had never eaten at a place like that. Soft lighting, linen napkins, waiters who appeared and disappeared like smoke. Tony sat across from Folashade and tried not to look impressed by the view of the water. She hadn't touched her food. "I will get straight to the point," she said. "I need a husband." He put down his fork. "Not a real one," she added. The words clipped. Businesslike, like she was explaining a quarterly report, a contractual agreement. 1 year. "You attend events with me, live in my house, behave like a devoted husband in public. At the end of 12 months, we divorce quietly. You receive 50 million naira and a car." The water lapped against the marina outside. Tony looked at her for a long moment. Then he pushed back his chair, placed his napkin on the table, and stood up. "I am not for sale. Everyone has a price. Spoilt, proud, entitled." He said it quietly, which made it worse. "You sat there like you are buying furniture. I am a person. Whatever your problem is, find someone else." He walked out. He didn't sleep that night. The eviction notice sat on his table. His account balance sat in his memory. His mother's voice sat in his chest. "Tony, I need the hospital money. They said next month they will stop the treatment." At 4 a.m., he stopped pretending. He picked up the phone. "I will do it," he said. When she answered on the second ring, "But we do this my way or not at all." The agreement ran to 14 pages. Tony read every word twice. He crossed out 2 clauses, added 1, and signed his name with his jaw tight like he was signing a peace treaty with a hostile nation. Folashade signed without reading, which somehow made him angrier. He moved into the Owolabi mansion on a Tuesday. The house was the size of his entire street. Cool marble floors, a staircase that curved like something from a film, staff who materialized silently with whatever you need. Tony's room was bigger than his old apartment. 25 million had already landed in his account by the time he set his bag down. He sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the balance of his phone for 5 full minutes. Folashade showed him the rules that evening over dinner, a dinner she spent reading documents, barely looking at him. In public, couple, warm, devoted, believable. Inside the house, strictly separate. His wing, her wing, no crossing. And don't touch anything that doesn't belong to you, she added without looking up. "I don't take what isn't mine," Tony said. "That's your apartment." She looked up then. "Excuse me, you hired a human being like he's a square part. That's taking something that isn't yours." Silence stretched across the table. She went back to her document. He finished his food alone. The first public appearance was a charity gala. They arrived together, a hand in the crook of his arm, both of them smiling at cameras with the practiced warmth of people who knew how to perform. "You clean up," she murmured through her smile. "Don't push it," he murmured back. The photographs looked beautiful, later on blogs and society pages. Folashade Owolabi finally surfaces with a mystery man, and we are obsessed. They got home and didn't speak for 3 days. It was the little things that started wars. He left his shoes by the staircase. She moved them outside his door without a word. He responded by moving her meticulously organized kitchen spice rack into entirely the wrong order. She replaced it. He moved it again. She had his car, the one in the contract, temporarily blocked in the driveway one morning when she needed the space. He rescheduled a 9 a.m. meeting by 3 hours by telling her assistant she had called in. She froze his secondary household allowance. He told her family friend Chi Badmus at a dinner that Folashade got emotional during sad films. She didn't speak to him for 5 days after that. But there were another moments. Small, unplanned ones. A night she came downstairs at 2 a.m. and found him on the phone in the kitchen, voice low and tight, telling his mother the hospital payment was sorted. He didn't hear Folashade come in. She left without making a sound. She didn't know why she stood in the hallway for a long time afterward. It started with a storm. One of those Lagos delus who came without warning, and both of them were strangled on the far side of the compound where the generator cut out and the outdoor lights died. They ran for the same covered veranda, stood there in the dark, breathing hard, rain hammering the roof closer than it had ever been in months. The generator team is off today, Folashade said. I know, I can reset it. She looked at him. You know how to... I grew up without constant power, Folashade. Some of us learn to work with our hands. It came out louder than he meant it to. She didn't snap back. In the dark, with the rain loud before them, something shifted. He reset the generator. She bought him a towel when he came back soaked. Neither of them acknowledged it. But after that, small things changed. She started leaving his food covered when he came back late. He started waiting before making decisions that affect the house schedule. She laughed once, genuinely, startled out of it at something he said. He caught himself thinking about it the next morning. He caught himself thinking about her, which was a problem because the agreement had an end date, because she saw him as a transaction, because he was Tony Adeyemi from Mushin and she was Folashade Owolabi, and this was not a love story. He kept telling himself that. The 12 months ended on a Thursday. The lawyers came. The documents were signed. The second half of the morning landed in Tony's account. The Owolabi estate in full transferred to Folashade. Everything went exactly according to plan. Tony packed his bag that evening. He packed slowly, which he didn't examine too closely. It was almost done when she appeared in the doorway. She looked at his bags. He looked at her. Car's downstairs, she said. It's yours. I know, thank you. A long silence. Tony, her voice came out different. She stopped. Try again. You don't have to. I mean, the arrangement is complete. You are free. But the company, the CFO position, is still open if you want it legitimately on your own merit. He stared at her. Is that what this is? What? A new contract? A new transaction? No! Something moved across her face. Raw, on guard, unplanned. It's me being terrified and doing it the only way I know how. She exhaled. I don't know how to say stay without making it a negotiation. I don't know how to. I have never. He crossed the room, not slowly. She didn't move away. You could have just said stay. He said quietly. I know. She looked up at him. Stay. Outside, Lagos hummed and honked and poured and shouted, indifferent as always. Inside, for the first time in a long time, Folashade Owolabi was not performing for anyone.